You want us to accept criminals in our society, criminals whose country don't want them. How many times have the Zimbabwean government came and condemned criminals that are in South Africa, and you want me to come and accept those very same people? How many African countries have invested in South Africa? Oksalayo, we are gonna Dudula them in hospitals, Dudula them in schools, Dudula them everywhere where they're not supposed to go.
If people believe that South Africa is xenophobic, let them go and visit countries like Botswana and Mozambique.
Guys, you know what? Sometimes Black South Africans are a problem. I wanted to actually come here and say exactly what Maboso was saying, to say that you hate white people so much, but you went and studied in their country. You went and your family got the opportunity to go study in their country. You come here, you come and tell us that singabantu. Uphi umuntu ongathatha untwanakho amuphe ipowder in a form of sweet? Ubani umuntu angayenza njalo? You want us to accept criminals in our society, criminals whose country don't want them. How many times have the Zimbabwean government came and condemned criminals that are in South Africa, and you want me to come and accept those very same people that are rejected by their own, in their own countries? You want me to then say that abantu phila bayenza njalo, abantu abaphila bazoshaya abodadewethu ngathi izinja, then uzositshela ukuthi labantu labase-Africa abantu banjani labo? Guys, where have you when I see you come here, you've been from the UK. I want to know, has the UK pardoned or given special treatment from white South Africans traveling to the UK, or they had to follow law? That is the first thing. Number two, how many African countries have invested in South Africa that you know? How many African countries? And another thing, comment section, can you please show me someone who is for Pan-African, who's from South Africa right now, arguing, sitting outside of South Africa? If you love South Africa that much, I'm going to echo the words of Maboso again. If you love Africa that much, why didn't your parents send you to any other African countries that got liberation before South Africa? Your parents decided to ship you to the very same country that colonized you, that colonized us, with a chest. And when you are busy saying South Africans are xenophobic, you must remember that you're counting your own sisters and your own parents are also xenophobic. You act like chasing bed seats out of our houses is uncommon. How many times have we within our family chased out rotten apples within our family? Now you're expecting me to come and live with a criminal whose country is condemning them. You come and act like South Africa is viewed as a separately, the way they view us. Actually, the people in Europe don't give a shit about socio-economic activities of South Africa. There's no one who gives a damn about socio-economic activities of South Africa. That very same person that you're saying that Aisu Muntu, you're worried about how that person perceives us as South African. But you're saying Aisu Muntu, why are you so worried of what they think of us? Malawi has also offered us their military to say that should we find Malawian criminals, we can come and call them anytime. They will send their military themselves to come pick them up. What makes you think that they are now seeing us as a better black? You can't come speaking English. The world is seeing us as better blacks, or we are seeing ourselves as better blacks. Write a literature in your own language, Sia. Write your own literature, a book, and write a thesis in your own language before you speak about us being better blacks. There's no one and no country who's willing to live amongst criminals with the fact of killing them their own. There's a reason why many African countries have the unaliving penalty when you are arrested. There's a reason. If those countries saw those people as humans, then they would not issue a punishment such as unalive them when they've done wrong. If as part of the punishment, which South Africa doesn't. South Africa is the only African country that does not have the unaliving law, and maybe Namibia is as good as South Africa, that doesn't have the unaliving law in this country. Then you want me to recognize umuntu aphuma ngaphandle doing hideous things, not only to abo bhuti to two kids. You want me to then come and say that you are busy saying you are busy saying that it's people. It's not nonsense, Chief. Tell me which other country doesn't have the unaliving law. You are busy saying people that come from the countries that abuse human rights daily, including Zimbabwe. Abusing human rights. You want me to come and see those people as abantu wethu. They are not. Akekho umuntu angathatha umntwana amdlwengule ana 12 years. Hi guys, you need to start looking at it. You don't love us. Maybe you love something that you are benefiting from foreigners, but you cannot say that as a South African man, you are condoning those people and say that we must view them as abantu. Also umuntu because of azange angibone as umuntu from the beginning. Azange angibone, I'm summarizing. Azange angibone at the beginning. I say forge on. We are fighting for the country. The enemy was Umzungu, but the enemy has now turned and he has become my own brother. And I will deal the same way that I dealt with Muzungu, and I'm still dealing with Muzungu. We are busy pushing forward to say that we will not be bullied by foreigners who come from countries who have actually ejected them out of their countries. Thank you.
No problem.
Firstly, I'd like to advise all African countries to apply the same methods that South Africa is currently applying. Should we ever be in a position that we have illegal South Africans running to their countries, please apply your law. Learn from South Africans. Learn that you need to apply the law. My advice to other Africans is that when South Africa finds itself in that position where we are now in need, and South Africans, lazy South Africans, run to those countries, cross borders and enter illegally, apply those laws. And number two, guys, foreigners that are here legally. I have foreigners that I work with in my company. They've got medical aid. They don't use public facilities. They actually know the law. That's why you don't see them up in panels and actually coming up to say, no, what you're doing is an African. They understand the exact plight of what South Africa is doing and what South Africans are saying. The foreigners that are actually here legally are not going to public hospitals demanding things that they are not entitled to. That is legal South Africans, because the people that are here legally would have read the migration laws. Also, when we are busy saying that Ubuntu, where is the Ubuntu of Zimbabweans? Because guys, the border has two sections. There's the South African side of the border, there's the Zimbabwean side of the border. Where's the border officials of Zimbabweans when Zimbabweans are busy crossing over to South Africa? Where's that part? Where's their accountability? You are busy calling South Africa to account, but you're saying we must unite. If you're going to unite, you're not going to call South Africans only. Why are you not calling on on the Zimbabwean government, who hasn't built a hospital in 42 years? In 42 years, they haven't built proper hospitals for their countries. You as a South Africans, you're not calling out and condemning those people. Why are you not condemning countries that are failing to provide free healthcare, free education for its citizens? But you're saying we need to unite. Exactly what are we uniting on? Because if you're going to unite with somebody, you need to be able to sit them down and say that, but then why are you doing this to your people? So much so that they have to come to South Africa, risk their lives to come give birth in South Africa. Guys, don't be selective. You are not isolating everybody. That is why trade is still going on between African countries. As it is now, South African farmers have been given land to go farm in Zimbabwe as it is now. So wait, what isolation are you guys speaking of exactly? Exactly which land are you, which South Africa are you living in that is so different from the reality of what's happening in South Africa regarding trades and diplomatic relations regarding these two? There's no country that has spoken up about what South Africa is currently doing. Everybody's quiet. Ask yourself why. If Dudula was doing something so wrong, they were supposed to stand up and say that, you know what, South Africa, as leaders of countries, what you're doing to our people is wrong. Why have the leaders of Zimbabwe actually said that, Mnangagwa said that South Africa is actually what you call that, dealing with Zimbabweans perfectly. You come here, their own government are condemning them. You want us to accept that? Does that make sense to you guys? Does that make sense to you guys? And then you're busy saying isolating. So do you think that those African leaders are stupid? If they're not agreeing with this, what's happening? Why have they strengthened their trade? Because trade is going on between these countries, guys. It's going on perfectly well. They will be here during the G20 summit. They'll be here. They're always here. Mnangagwa was here just 2 weeks ago. Just 2 weeks ago. So what isolation are you talking about? This imaginary isolation in your head. Trade is going strong, guys. It's going strong. You are sounding like exactly what white people said in 1994 to say that soon this country will not grow. Where are we now, guys? Stop wishing for the demise of South Africa. It's not going. We are attracting more investments. We are trading perfectly well with those very same countries, Zimbabwe and South Africa. Mnangagwa said that South Africa right now, is very happy with it. He's very happy with it. My colleague actually came up to say that right now Zambia is even offering South African farmers an opportunity to go farm in Zambia. So what isolation are you talking about, guys, which is imaginary to you guys who want us to actually accept illegality within our country? Right now, South Africa is part of the investors in Dangote's refinery in Nigeria. Did Ranko not make a deal with Nigerian businesses not so long ago that actually infuriated us? So what isolation, guys, are you talking about? Maybe somebody, please, guys, please educate me. I want to know what isolation has South Africa suffered ever since South Africa has taken the stance of Dudula. Which country has isolated itself or condemned us? Because we are seeing more partnerships growing, because they understand that what we're fighting against is the exact same things that their countries don't condemn. So please, guys, don't come and use manipulative arguments and say you're not isolating. The relations, diplomatic relations, our trade is growing stronger by the day. Oksalayo, we are gonna Dudula them in hospitals, Dudula them in schools, Dudula them everywhere where they're not supposed to go. The good foreigners actually are very quiet. They're in their place. They know when to come in, when to shut up, when to eat and wipe their mouths. What we are left with is leeches who want to leech off what is meant for poor South Africans. For poor South Africans. So Dudula must continue fighting for those poor South Africans who cannot fend for themselves.
If people believe that South Africa is xenophobic, let them go and visit countries like Botswana and Mozambique and come and tell us to say South Africa it's a bad country compared to the countries that I've mentioned. As a foreigner in Mozambique, you don't even have rights that a person have them in South Africa. Even South Africans themselves, they cannot even enjoy, the rights in Mozambique, just the country just next door. And countries like Zimbabwe, they have too many countries that are surrounded. There's Zambia, there's Namibia, there's Malawi, they have too many countries that they can also go to if South Africa it's not a right country for them. And what is so sad is that Zimbabwe wants. South Africa has hosted too many countries. In fact, every country in the world, it's there in South Africa. But Zimbabweans are the only ones that are making it, their assignment to always speak bad about South Africa. And yet they're in South Africa. The way they are making it, it also becomes, difficult for us to have good relations with all the Zimbabweans with what they have done. I would blame the leaders of Zimbabwe by promoting such culture, because it seems as if everyone else is saying the same script every day. You go to all platforms, they'll be like, yeah, South Africans, they are banning people. South Africans, they are leaving pregnant women. It's always the same story, the same script everywhere. I think we are tired to hear such script every day. Maybe they need to take that attention, and direct it towards the problems that they have in Zimbabwe. We have people from Lesotho. You'll never hear Lesotho people making a campaign against South Africa. We have people in Mozambique. You'll never hear them. And those people, it's people that have been in South Africa for too many years, but we have never had any challenges. You go to places like Cape Town, especially Guma Farm, where they do all those grapes. Are you aware that South Africans are not there? The labor market in farms in Cape Town, it's the Sotho people and Zimbabwean people. They even have a fight amongst themselves in those farms, and yet there is no South African. But when there is someone who gets killed or injured, they now direct it to South Africa, which is not the real truth. So some people need to honestly do an introspection to say, this, what are we doing? Sizophelela phi? When is this gonna end? Because the more we do this, the more division it comes. And we cannot preach Pan-Africanism now. All our countries in Africa are not ready to preach Pan-Africanism. It's not helping. It's not doing. We have seen it even in our own country. Those that supported parties like PAC, we saw what happened to them. So South Africa and Africa, it's not ready for Pan-Africanism. It's a dream that can only be attained when all countries are well in wealth, But for now, as long as the wealth is still in the hands of the foreigners, Pan-Africanism, it's not an issue. We need to correct ourselves from the countries that we are in. Thank you.
No, look, to answer your question, no. This is why even when you go to your petrol station to put some fuel, you would see the petrol attendant would even start cleaning your windscreen just to make sure that you're able to travel comfortably and actually be clear. But now, look, the issue is this. I hear what the sister from Kenya said about what she said about that what's happening internally will not affect Pan-Africanism. Look, you see, the lady from Kenya and the rest of the people that support Pan-Africanism, if you want to get this ideology to work, it has to start with a lot of things. Pan-Africanism, you can go read the book on it, and you can read the various clauses of Pan-Africanism. It does not talk about illegal migration to other countries. It doesn't talk about criminality. The issue that when you listen to people from South Africa telling you that we have a problem, people are entering our country illegally, people are coming to commit crimes, and these are people that look like us. Because I'm sure someone will come and say, but what about the white ones? Are the white ones busy stealing copper cables? I'm yet to hear Ukrainians stealing copper cables. But it's always our people that look like us. So this is the thing. Clinty, whether I'm for it or against it, my brother, I don't care for ideologies. I'm an African. And on the end of the day, when a black person goes and commits crime in another black man's country, it paints all of us as bad. Because let's ask ourselves, why is it that black people, and I'm not picking any country, I'm just saying black people, are being expelled from other countries? Why is it that European countries do not want to have Africans coming to their country? America is starting to have the same stance. We have problems. And this is the thing, it takes a few rotten apples to mess it up for all of us. So we have to sit down and ask ourselves critical questions. What is wrong with us as Africans? Do we not like laws and order? Do we not like to be dictated to by rules? Do we just want to be allowed to run around like headless chickens and abuse and do as we please? And when people call us out on it, we call them xeno, we call them racist, we call them all names under the sun. But we don't want to address ourselves. Because I believe if these issues were addressed from the get-go, the situation with what you call this country, Zimbabwe, for example, if they had called themselves out and had been disciplined, you would not even hear lives being hosted talking about that issue. The same thing like what the gentleman spoke about Lesotho. At least they atone for their crimes. But the issue we have is, if we as Africans, as what Farmer's daughter said earlier, if we as Africans can't call each other out, then we can forget pen what and pen this and unity and united what. It will never happen. Because the problem is, if I as an African have a mindset of saying, let me go to Botswana, which is my closest neighbor here. I wanna go settle in Botswana, I wanna start up businesses there. But I come and I start disrespecting the laws of Botswana and disrespecting the people of Botswana. They have a right to say, you know what, headmen, take your money, close your shops, leave our country. They have a right to say that. But we as Africans want to behave, and I think I see where the problem is, Farmer's daughter. It is not a fact that of laws. No, it's the fact that other black people are telling other blacks not to do this. You know that mindset when you come to your father's house and you tell your cousins not to do this, the first thing they tell you, you think you are better than us. That's the mindset most black people have. This is why we don't like hearing each other. We always have to fight each other. Hey, you are Zeno. Hey, you are this. This one thinks he's a white person. We always have to fight each other because we don't want to sit down and listen to one another. This is why we fight. But me, myself, I'm sitting in my country. I'm happy in my country. I'm not saying my country is perfect. There are problems. And the craziest part is, you had a minister in Namibia here, by the way, on Thursday, was busy talking about it's almost the equivalent of human settlement in South Africa. He said he had given the municipalities an instruction not to hire a particular company. That company, the owner of the company, comes behind the doors to try and bribe the minister. And guess where this person is from? He's from one of our neighboring SADC countries. So you sit down and ask yourself, is criminality just something in some of our neighbors' genetics? Is it just there? Or is it something that they learned from somewhere? Because imagine approaching a whole minister to come and try and bribe him. You shake your head and you say, we have a problem as Africans. I can hear my sister from Kenya, she talks for African unity, but if she's being factual, she will also point out the issues they're having. And these issues we're having with ourselves, it's with black people. As much as someone will come and tell me, headman, but what about the whites? How do I focus on the white problem if I'm dealing with you first? If black people could behave themselves, we would not need to be engaging on them. We'd be engaging on the whites that are also illegals in our countries. But now we're focusing on them because they're misbehaving. I know that there's something critically wrong. And I always ask myself this question. Is it a thing of we as black people, we don't like law and order, or do we just enjoy lawlessness? Maybe we want to live in a wild, wild west where we're chasing each other with weapons in the street. But even if we go back to our so-called African laws, there were rules in villages. You don't just go and start misbehaving in someone's village. You have to respect the people. But this is why I keep on saying that there's a difference with us as Africans. We're all black, but when you look at the other ones, they behave like, no. Let me just pause it there, farmers. I need to run. But thank you for that, my sister.